Greetings to all and sundry, liberation greetings to my brave people of Amazonia, my brave people of the former UN Trust Territory of British Southern Cameroons. Accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Ba Akuro, and the question generally comes, who told you that Amazonians are about to give up or about to surrender? Because we will never surrender. We will only stop when we achieve our objective. And our aim is to make sure we deliver a free and independent Amazonia to our people, to our suffering masses on ground zero. So today is Thursday, and today is March 23. My people of Amazonia, let me begin by apologizing for my length of silence. I actually am really recovering. I'm in pretty good health right now, but I was actually held back by a lot of things relating to our liberation movement. And so I'm delighted at least to be back here today because, it was generally part of the plan that we will have to face very difficult moments. We'll have to face a lot of challenges. We'll have to face even times where we almost think that, oh my goodness, it doesn't really make any sense moving on. But all the same, we overcome such moments. We emerge from them stronger than we, depressed into them. And that will generally continue to keep us on the rails. And so my people of Amazonia, I like us to continue to be strong, to continue to support one another, and to continue to stand with one another as far as this liberation movement is concerned. My heart is pouring out to our people in Boya following the deadly floods that claimed some lives. My heart is equally pouring out again to our people out there who are right now suffering from the useless and evil pangs of the colonial administration of La République du Cameroun in Boya that refused to take thorough time to study or to take time to thoroughly study the files of people desiring to construct houses and allow them to build in certain places, most of them even with permits, paying huge sums of money to the council. And today the same council is out for demolition after these people have spent their hard-earned money to put in place or to build the structures. This is exactly what you call chaos, disorder, lack of a vision. My people of Amazonia, in the days of the Southern Cameroons, when I say the days of the Southern Cameroons, I mean in the days of the Fonchas, in the days of the Endelis, in the days of the Ngomjua. Listen, there was thorough planning. The towns were seriously planned. That is why you noticed that in the entire Cameroon, because they quote their country, including the Southern Cameroons, the only place that still have some streets that are named and houses numbered, that you can still write a letter through the post office and say number 536 Nambeke Street is in Victoria, is in Amazonia. That is how planning was done. Just like you see the cities of the world planned carefully in the United States, in Turkey, in Italy, in the United Kingdom. This is how our town planners were working in our various towns and cities in the Southern Cameroons to ensure that every house that was constructed had a road passing in front of it or leading to it. But you see what is happening. In the larger La République du Cameroon, you see that some people pass through other people's living rooms to get to their own houses. That is a kind of cacophony that we don't want in our land. All of these things will change once we kick out La République du Cameroon, institute our own system, make Amazonia real, and my people begin to plan our own towns and cities, begin to determine our own development priorities. Look, the floods that happened in Boya were really deadly, and it pains my heart. I imagine the sufferings of the people, those whose shops were swept off, those whose houses were simply washed off, some of them whose cars, taxi drivers whose cars were damaged, and all of this, all because of poor town planning. Don't think it's only with us. Because I say this disorder was imported or exported to our land by the Republic du Cameroon. Look at their national capital, Yaoundé. On the same day that the floodings were taking place in Boya, it was happening in Yaoundé. Next day, Yaoundé was even worse at the center town around Port Central, Avenue Kennedy, and others. Now I understand they are planning to start demolishing buildings around Avenue Kennedy, whereas they have spent billions with a Chinese company called China Water that was supposed to construct a canal around Yaoundé to help ease those waters. But it can't work because the elephant in the house is poor town planning, poor drainage system, and that is what they exported into our land. We have seen such floods devastate places not only in Boya, in other towns and cities of Amazonia because of the presence and influence of the colonial administration of La République du Cameroon. So I'm extending my heartfelt condolence to the members of the families that lost people in this floods. And as usual, the government of Cameroon will only share to people bread, buckets, blankets, or rather mattresses, of course, with sardine, because that is the common that they know. What the people need is not that. Right now, what the people need, what we need is La République du Cameroon out of our territory so that we can make sure that such avoidable disasters are averted. It's not like floods will never happen. They have happened even in the developed world. But then, the way they will happen, it will not happen and bring damages to the scale at which the damages in Boya attained. This is something we have to bear in mind. And my people have said constantly that one of the biggest problems we're having is because we're unevenly yoked with a set of people who have lost their sense of humanity, who no longer know what it means to stand up for what you truly believe in, to stand up for your rights. We saw people in Senegal, mighty Senegal, they flooded the streets of Dakar to tell Macky Sall, you will not dare get a third mandate. You will never go closer to that because that will only happen over our dead bodies. They were in their thousands, hundreds of thousands. And because the agitation by the opposition political leader that that thing will not happen caused the government of Macky Sall to be hard-handed. They picked him up and detained him. But what did the people do? By people power in the streets, they were able to force the government of Macky Sall to vomit out this opposition leader. This is the kind of approach that you take towards tyrannic regimes. You don't sit, drink alcohol, eat bread and sardine, and wait that providence will come and set you free from the hands of a demagogue, a tyrant, a monster who is even decided that after 40 years of fruitlessness, he's going to restore his son to start another 50 years of developmental drought. You don't take it that way. I'm saying this because take a look at this. This is Cabral Libi. Oh yes, the last time I was talking here, Cabral Libi called for a massive demonstration in Yaoundé. He said he was expecting all the castes of the community to come out and join him to demonstrate even just for electricity and water. But this is all that Cabral Libi, a member of parliament, this is the only crowd he was able to pull into the streets of Yaoundé out of over 30 million people. Cabral Libi succeeded in mobilizing less than 20. If I'm not mistaken, there should be 12. As you can see there. And these are people who are coming out there, they're demonstrating for water. What are they carrying? No placards, no billboards, nothing to show for whatever they are demonstrating. And these are the kind of people that you tell me that we should continue to live with, we should continue to operate with, and hoping that someday with these kind of people, you will get change. Oh no, my people of Amazonia. We didn't have to be here in the first place. We really never had to be here in the first place. And that is why we have to do everything to make sure we don't end up being defined by this kind of people. Because that will spell doom for our people, for generations upon generations of Amazonians to come. Don't forget, I said the last time that I was raising funds to get, satellite phones for our people on ground zero, to make sure that we make the communications of those our brave hearts that continue to go from community to community on ground zero to ensure that we have freedom, to ensure that they advance our cause. As you can see for yourselves, this is the satellite phone that was promised by one of ours, that was promised by one of ours, a gentleman in Minnesota. He and his wife took upon themselves that single-handedly they were buying the first satellite phone. This is it I have in my hands here. It initially was going to cost just $1,485, but it ended up at $1,702. When they expedited the movement, it got up to about $1,825. They took that sacrifice. That is the Amazonianness in us. This is a satellite phone that will be transmitted to our people on ground zero to ease their communications, to make sure that they are escaping from the pangs of La République du Cameroon's communication, from the gerrymandering, from the manipulation being brought in by MTN, by Orange, and by Nextel, along with Camtel. So therefore, all those are people who are going from community to community to sensitize our people on the need to stay strong in this liberation movement. Your communications will progressively be protected. So I'll show you this here. So you know this operation is real. It's not a farce. This operation is real. And I want to continue to thank and congratulate all those who are still contributing to that drive. Because as I said, our target is $13,500. This far, we're yet to cross the $5,000 mark. But you see, there are single individuals who are taking upon themselves to do this because they believe in the Amazonian dream. They believe in the need for our freedom. They understand that freedom is not free. I saw someone right in the place on the platform and said, let La République du Cameroon pack out of our land. Let Britain come and give us our freedom that they confiscated in collaboration with France at the eve of independence. Don't forget, hear this from me today. Freedom has never been given to anybody. Freedom has generally been seized. Any country that was just given independence, they are not enjoying that independence today. Countries that fought for their independence and took it, they are enjoying their independence because they are truly independent. If you doubt, look at Francophone Africa. That's why France is everywhere. France is deciding things, every single thing. France will decide even right down to the choice of companies to execute projects in their countries. That is why, my dear people of Amazonia, we don't have to sit and wait that somebody will come and give it to us. Eritreans did not sit down and wait. They will not be free today. East Timorians did not sit down and wait. They will not be free today. The Southern Sudanese did not sit down and wait. They will not be free today. Southern Sudan after independence had their problems. They had issues of, power equation, but they have been resolved. And today, Juba is defeating Yaoundé seriously in terms of development. My people of Amazonia, there is nothing as sweet as freedom, but freedom has a price. I'm delighted with all those who are continuing to contribute. The other day I saw some people were putting in their $50, their $10, their $25. Someone came and said, no, I'll put in $300 and hit in the $300. If you still want to contribute, because I like you to contribute, use Amber Relief 2018 at gmail.com. Amber Relief is AMBARELIEF 2018 at gmail.com. Again, I will pin it as the first message on the comment section of this video so that you don't say you did not have that information to contribute either through Zelle or through PayPal. It is very important for us because it will help us, it will go a long way to enable us attain our objective. Now, I have a sound and very important message to those in our midst who continue to call themselves Federalists. But before I do that, let's listen to Barrister Lehman.
Okay, Barrister, search. It's by my training as a lawyer that we don't agitate so often. We allow the other party to talk. Yes. I want to draw the attention of Honorable to something she does not know who is a lawyer. From the statement you made there, I know you don't know who is a lawyer. Let me draw your attention who is a lawyer. A lawyer is a person charged to guarantee the law in a society. Without a lawyer, the society is a jungle. And you know how they call lawyers in common law jurisdictions? My lord. That's what they call us, meaning we are their gods. You understand? And so, the lawyer plays a very important role in a society that you cannot stand and say that the lawyers were not sincere. Lawyers are not dishonest people. Now, let me draw your attention. You know for sure that the president said in an interview that they have tried to assimilate the Anglophones, but they failed. Is that not political genocide? Why do you think genocide is only by coming to kill people? When you want to extinct...
Apologies. I want to stop briefly there, and I really acknowledge Barrister Nkamwa Lehman. I mean, while we were in school, we often called him Lehman CD because Barrister Lehman is also an artist. Oh, he plays very good music. We used to call him Lehman CD. So, but Barrister Nkamwa is saying one very interesting thing here, and I want to give him kudos here because he's reminding our people of what Mr. Paul Biya said in Paris. And this is very fundamental with respect to the message I want to share with those who still call themselves Federalists. La République du Cameroon, in connivance with France and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, never ever played around in their determination to ensure that we will remain slaves under La République du Cameroon forever. And Mr. Paul Biya did not mince his words when he was pressed by Mr. Mo Ibrahim. He said plainly that the plan was to assimilate us, make sure we become francophonized, and that is why, by presidential decree in 1984, he ended the name United Republic and returned to La République du Cameroon because as far as they were concerned, we were already fully swallowed. And now when you noticed that this is the plan people have for you or against you, what do? You go begging them to continue hanging around with them. Let's listen to Barrister Nkamwa Lehman.
The culture of a people. We want to extinct the judicial of a people. That's what happens. Look, lawyers, we are common law lawyers. We are from the common law jurisdiction, which is different from civil law. In the common law, we become magistrate. Il n'y a pas de magistrat aux zones common law. C'est des avocats qui sont des magistrats. Donc, j'étais obligé de vous dire parce qu'il fallait que vous sachiez quel rôle avocat joue. Maintenant, qu'est-ce que les avocats ont fait? We discovered that in the assimilation process, government started sending magistrates and they were already tampering with our judicial system. Let me tell you something. Magistrates in the common law jurisdiction are very humble people. Very humble people. Magistrates in the civil law jurisdiction where I practice are very arrogant, majority are very arrogant people.
Now, listen to this. Barrister Lehman is still, on very good track right here because he's continuing at least to remind us about the beauty of the Anglo-Saxon system, the beauty of the traditions in the southern Cameroons, of the legal system in the southern Cameroons, which La République du Cameroon has been struggling to, completely wipe out. And, I've said here before that one of the problems that country, La République du Cameroon, is facing is because they've concentrated the training of all those who are later on appointed to handle the various administrative units in one place. All of them are trained in ENAM. So people are called to ENAM hurriedly within a few months. They say they have graduated, they become magistrates. And you get these people, they are trained in that same institution alongside with those who say they are civil administrators. Trained in the same place with people who come out as treasury inspectors, those who come out as taxation inspectors, those who come out as court registrars, those who come out as finance controller. At the end of the day, you have an administrative unit where from the SDO right down to the court registrars, they are all classmates. What happens to the people? This is a gang up against the people. And all of them spend huge sums of money to get into these institutions. So when they come out there, the first objective is to make sure they recover their money and make profits. That's why they'll spend their whole time looting from the people. That's why they'll spend their whole time taking for themselves every single franc that the government allocates for the development of the various administrative units. Whereas in the Anglo-Saxon system, lawyers, people read law in various schools, in several schools, and then they come out and begin practicing as lawyers. And in the end, the system observes the level, that means the level-headedness, the know-how of the various lawyers, and picks from this pool to appoint as magistrates, as judges. These are people who come therefore in with an independent mindset and with a proven track record to deliver. You will never have that functioning with La République du Cameroun. You will never have that staying in any kind of union with La République du Cameroun. Let's listen again to Barrister Lime.
There are some few which are humble, but majority, they always believe that they are above lawyers, which is an error. Now, the lawyers who are the guarantor of the law, guarantors of the rule of law, we discovered that they were eradicating the common law practice. They were trying to francophonize the Anglophone system, and we got up and said, no, this must stop because it's not what we want. What did you do? You send people to be lawyers, people who are considered as my lords. You people sent military. They got them beaten. They got them locked up. Agbobala was swinging to Yaoundé. Madam, that was when your government made the biggest mistake, because when you come and touch the person that all the other Anglophones believe are the people who protect them, it means therefore that you've said that they cannot protect them and everybody should fight.
Madame, on en est où aujourd'hui? Dans un pays normal,
I come back.
Vous aurez déjà le niveau tout tablier parce que vous avez échoué.
Yes, I come back. Yes, I come back. So you see, that is a mentality they share with you, that lawyers are nobody. Because for you to sit and talk about lawyers as people who are not sincere is an insult to lawyers that I cannot accept. You politicians are dishonest.
Okay.
Lawyers are not dishonest.
You can see, just on this panel, you can see the difference in thoughts between us and them. If you heard the other gentleman that took speech in a very harsh manner, first, he just begins by saying, no, lawyers are thieves, lawyers are this and that, because that is whom they are in La République du Cameroun. Because that's the way La République du Cameroun perceives things. Because the culture of the people in La République du Cameroun is not such that anybody should work for integrity. Integrity does not count in that system. And therefore, there is no way, absolutely no way, you can operate side by side such people in any kind of system and feel that you will be able to maintain your independence and feel that you will be able to be you, who you are. That is not possible. Let's conclude with Barrister Lime.
We stand for the rule of law. And when we stood for the rule of law, you decided to beat lawyers. You decided to lock them up. And so the population feels that those who actually protect them were touched. And that's where we are today. And let me tell you, madam, tell them, federalism is a list Anglophones will take. All what they do, what kind of, how they call it, decentralization, special status, all those cannot work. I'm not threatening, I'm not talking, I'm threatening, but I'm telling you the truth about the situation. Me, I stand for federalism. There is almost virtually no Anglophone, if not 0.225, who will tell you that your so-called decentralization can sort them out.
Okay.
And so, madam, I want you to take with you today that lawyers are called my lord.
Okay. That's it.
So, I heard Barrister Lehman, and he said, Anglophones will settle for nothing short of federalism. He finishes his very beautiful presentation, and to me, at the end of the day, he waters it down by saying, I'm a federalist, and we will end with nothing short of federalism. Now listen to me. In 2017, when La République du Cameroon banned the consortium, banned the SCNC, and outlawed all of us and started a manhunt for all of us from the consortium, we were all talking federalism. We had simply asked for a return to the federal system as existed in 1961. And at that time, the government of La République du Cameroon, therefore, launched a manhunt for everybody talking about federalism and, of course, with what they call secession. And so there are a lot of people today, as we speak, in Kondengi, who were carted there in 2017 and early 2018 on grounds that they were spreading federalist ideologies. They are in jail as we speak. For the same thing that you're talking about, Barrister Lehman, they are in jail. Now, do you know why you can sit today on a panel like on Equinox, maybe Canal 2, or even CRTV, and talk about federalism with all the man and describe yourself as a federalist and go with it? It is because those who stand for independence have been doing the heavyweight lifting, have pushed La République du Cameroon to a point where they decided to say that let us begin by mitigating our thoughts. But not because they are ready for federalism. I have come to this platform on at least 3 to 4 occasions to tell people how the government of Cameroon decided to begin tolerating talks of federalism. When Laurent Esso, the same murderous Laurent Esso, was on a tour of the diaspora in 2018 and stopped over in Paris, in Belgium, we all recall how our comrades Mark Barretta and others, rendered any constructive discussion with them and Laurent Esso there impossible until one of the bodyguards kind of passed out or was taken away in an ambulance. We all recall that day, that particular meeting. From that tour, Laurent Esso wrote a report to the President of the Republic of Cameroon, in which he said, after going around, we can notice that the people of Southern Cameroons, or the Anglophones as he called them, are so hostile to the unitary state. They are so hostile to having anything to do with us. A good lot of them want independence, but there is a trend. There is some thought that is coming up that is interesting, and that is there are quite some among them, a few of them though, that are still talking about federalism, that are so determined and say, no, we want to still remain, we want to be together in the union, but let it be federalism. And he proposed, let us ease our hold, let us ease our actions, our high-handedness towards those talking federalism, and literally encourage them in a veiled manner. Why? Not because we are interested in returning to the federal system, but because if the voice of the Federalists begins to grow and get strong, it will mitigate the voices of those who want independence. It will cause the Federalists among them and the pro-independence activists among them to forget about us and go clashing among themselves. And at the end of the day, they will weaken themselves. The whole notion of freedom or whatever will be watered down, and will be able to have a leeway to make sure that we enforce the decentralization and to make sure we maintain the unity state. That was a submission from Laurent Esso to the President of the Republic in 2018. I received a copy of that report directly from the Presidency of the Republic, and I shared it in 2018. I've repeated talks about it to let those talking federalism to know that they are a pawn, that they are being pawned over. They are being used by the government of La République du Cameroun to try and water down the aspirations, the true aspirations of the people of the Southern Cameroons for freedom. Anytime you go sit there, you sing your song Federalists, we will take nothing short of Alice independence. How will you get it? How will you get La République du Cameroun to sit and dialogue with you for ask me what you want? Nobody ever gets handed freedom. Nobody ever gets given freedom. All you need to do, those of you who call yourself Federalists, join hands with all of us who are pro-independence, because it is the actions and movements and everything that we are doing that is going to force La République du Cameroun to find itself on the negotiations table. If it ends up with a referendum, you will then have the opportunity to launch your campaign that people should vote to stay in the federalist system. But if you sit in one place and you are shouting and making noise and everything, you are just an obstructionist. You are just disturbing. Because La République du Cameroun has proven beyond reasonable doubt that they are not a reasonable party. They will never sit down to any discussion unless forced, unless dragged to the negotiation table. And while I was still grappling with what Barrister Lime was saying there, as I fell on this message from the Horizon newspaper, where Munzu is saying Federalists are welcoming the Canadian mediation offer and the likes. How did we even get to Canada, Dr. Munzu? You can't sit down and be developing a pipe dream and hoping, fighting the same people who are struggling to make even that your own kind of dream have some semblance of realism. You're talking about Canada. Mind you, when La République du Cameroun agreed with the government of Canada that they want to sit down to some kind of discussion, they asked that those groups to be invited should be those that have armed factions on the ground. Dr. Musa, did you hear that? That have armed factions on the ground. La République du Cameroun does not believe in goodwill. La République du Cameroun does not believe in reason. La République du Cameroun believes in brute force. In brute force, La République du Cameroun will only be forced to the negotiation table. So all those of you moving around and making noise, Federalists, first of all note that the voice you have is given by those of us who are pro-independence. It's given by those of us who are fighting tooth and nail to make sure we kick La République du Cameroun out of our territory. It will be a gainful exercise for you to join us first. Let us drag La République du Cameroun to the negotiations table. And after the negotiations table, of course, the people are definitely going to have the opportunity to freely demonstrate to the world where they stand. You will have a chance to make your case. Otherwise, right now, I consider you an instrument in the hands of La République du Cameroun, simply being propped up to distract us from the focus, which is kicking those demonic colonialists out of our territory, out of our country. And this is a message I'd like you to share as much as possible. Let Dr. Munzu and all his likes grow to understand this properly. Let them absorb this message and understand that freedom has never ever anywhere in the world been handed to anybody on the platter of gold. Have a great day. Again, thank you for watching.